Good day, John Megling here again. Hope everyone is doing well. And today we're going to be talking about something that happens, quite often, something we talk about, which is how to start and stop virtual machines in Azure during off hours, in the Azure automation platform. Here are a couple links that I've added to, you can get some step-by-steps on how to do this task. So with that, let's go ahead and get started, and I'll show you how to do some of this Azure automation, starting, stopping a virtual machine. So to get us started, let's just take a look at some Microsoft's documentation for creating this solution. So I'll go ahead and highlight the URL here, so if you want to go there and check it out. And I encourage it because it covers not only what we're going to do, which is scheduling, starting, stopping of VMs, but the different options you have for it, as well as any prerequisites. But you can see it manages, this solution manages any VMs in any region, and it's available on both the regular Azure and the Azure government regions that are supported. As I noted, the solution prerequisites are listed here, and you can see there's a run as account prerequisite, things like that. Also, there's some permissions that need to be handled and make sure that they're ready for the solution. That way you understand what you're creating. So once you've kind of browsed through that, if you scroll down in this solution, there are some step-by-step instructions under enable the solution, and you can go ahead and hit that, and we'll take a look at that page. And you can see I'll highlight the URL again for you there, but it shows you step by step what to do to create the solution. And the first thing to do is, always get in the Azure Portal, which we'll do. I'm already in. It's portal.azure.com, and we'll just search for automation accounts. And in this case, I have a couple. If you don't, you'll need to create an automation account. If you want to, there is another way to do it. You can see in this existing automation account that I have, this is one way to do it if you want to create that account ahead of time. You can see we already have some jobs running. And we'll hit the Start Stop VM section. And we've got a couple different things we can do here: manage an existing solution, update an existing solution, or enable the solution, which is what we're going to pick. It'll launch us off into the Azure portal again, where we'll get the create the solution piece. So that's one way to do it. So we're going to do it a little different. We can actually just go to create a resource, and we want to go ahead and do the start stop. And if I type it right, there you go. We can see that it'll come right up, and we get the same piece. So we're going to go ahead and hit create out of this. And first thing we're going to need to do is grab an existing OMS workspace that we have, or create a new one. We'll go ahead and create a new one. So we need to give it a name, and make sure we have it against the right subscription where our resources are at. And we'll need to create a resource group, or grab a resource group for it that we already have created. In this case, I've already got one created that I'll grab, and then make sure we're working out of the region that we want. In this case, I'm using the East US 2 region. And you've got some different options for pricing. So the OMS Log Analytics does have some costs associated with it. You can see there's different tiers, and you can actually link out to the pricing page right out of here to take a look at that, which we'll do now. That way you can kind of get a look at, we'll just buzz through that real quick. So I'll go ahead and hit that. And it takes us to an Azure page where you can see the pricing for Log Analytics. I know I'm hitting that really quick, but you'll want to review that and make sure it meets your needs and you're okay with the cost. We're going to choose pay as you go per gig. And we got a resource group. We've got that all sorted, and we're going to go ahead and initialize that deployment. So you can see that deployment's in progress. And we'll see the validating down here. It doesn't take very long, just about 20 or 30 seconds. You can see it's done. And then next we can go ahead and create our automation account. So this is an automation account for this workspace. So we have some other automation accounts in our environment. In this case, we're going to create a new one specifically for this solution. So you want to give it a name that's descriptive. In this case, I'm just adding the auto admin piece on here, so I know it's an automation account admin. And you can see it's already filled in the other things for us, and it tells us what it's going to do. It's going to create this run as account for this, in the automation account that we're going to need. So go ahead and hit that, and that deployment will start. Again, 20 or 30 seconds it takes here, if that long. We can see it's validating our choice. All done. So at this point, we've created a workspace, got our automation account, and now we're ready to go ahead and configure our parameters for the solution. So the first choice we have to make is we're going to do all our resource groups in our subscription, or we're just going to do a specific resource group in our subscription. In this case, for this example, I'm going to go ahead and do a specific resource group. And same way, within that resource group, we can, it's going to by default do all of the virtual machines in resource group. In this case, you can actually restrict which virtual machine also, just to give you a little idea. And then kind of the meat of it here is when do we want them to start and when do we want them to stop. We can, pick, dates for it to start working, times, obviously. So we're going to, in my case, we'll make this like, 7 a.m. And you can just edit that when we want the first stop to happen and the future stops. So in my case, I'm going to put it, to today. I don't want it starting tomorrow. I want it to actually start tonight. So we'll go ahead and change those parameters to whatever you're comfortable with. Everyone has a different schedule. I'm just using this as an example to show you. And you can see it uses UTC time, so there's no reason to get too hung up on it. Uses that from your region, so you don't have to worry about it. You just put your times in here and kind of a set it and forget it thing. And you can also have it email notify. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and do that. So pick an email address that you want to get the notifications on. And once that's all done, we can go ahead and hit the create button, and it's going to start that deployment. It will take, in my experience, about 10 to 15 minutes for this deployment to happen. We'll go ahead and bounce through that just for the sake of time in the video. You can see it shows us what it's doing as it's going along, and once it's done, we'll get, your deployment is completed. And you can drill down into these if you want, so you can see exactly what's happening. And there you go. Deployment's complete, and we'll go to the resource and check it out. Take a look at that resource group with the resources got created in. There's our SS-RG resource group. And when it comes up, you'll see we have lots of different resources. These are our run books, our log analytics workspace, our automation account is in here, and then the solution itself is within this resource group also. So that's what we want to see. You want to see all of that. If not, your solution didn't deploy right, so you might want to go back. We can go and edit that solution. So I'm just showing you one of the run books and how to edit it. So you can go in and actually edit it at a PowerShell level. Which some like, or even simpler, we can just hit schedules if we just simply need to modify the schedule. You can see there's a start schedule and a stop schedule. If we go ahead and click into that start schedule, we'll see when it was modified and when it starts. Remember, it's using UTC time, and we can just modify from that there and save it and make those changes. Same here as the stop schedule. So don't get confused about the time. Remember, it's UTC, so you just edit it in that mode. So pretty easy thing to do as far as modifying these run books. Lots of flexibility. And there's lots of different ones that do different things. And Microsoft does publish a list right off that site that I listed that showed what the different ones do. This is the Log Analytics workspace. There's a lot that you can do in here related to the solution or additional things that you may want to do regarding Log Analytics. But just to show you that real quick. And if we just search on our automation accounts real quick, We'll go ahead and do that. So we can take a look. You can see I've got a few different ones. There's the one we just created, the SS Auto Admin. Old ones that I have. This is one that's been running for a while, so I'll go ahead and pull that up to show you some statistics related to jobs I've already had going. You can see we've got 4 completed jobs related there. So it does tell us what's going on. We can hit the activity log and actually get some details. It will take a second to come up, so you have to be a little patient with the activity log. By default, it's just going to be to the last 6 hours, which may not, in this case, it didn't capture what we want, so we're going to go ahead and change that to 24 hours. You can see we can do weeklies, extend that out. So we'll go ahead and change that to 24 hours like I did, and we should start seeing some stuff pop up here in a second. Yep, there we go. So there's our audit policies. Again, may not seem like a lot of, bright in your face, this tells me what's going on information, but these things are important. So we can get additional information. There's our run books, and you can see the different run books. If we want to edit those, this is another place to edit them from. We can also look at the jobs that have happened. And you can see the completed jobs. So this is looking more about what we want to see. It's a little bit more self-explanatory about what's happening. So that tells us, a lot of good things. And we can also look at the schedules from here too. So we can see when things are scheduled, we need to add or make additions, changes. Like anything with Microsoft, there's usually multiple ways to kind of do the same stuff. So that gives you a good look, at the different things that are going related to the automation account. So you want to be familiar with that screen. The good thing about this is it's kind of set it and forget it for sure. So we'll take a look at the email. Remember, we put that email in. This is just saying I was added to that automation, that action group under Azure Monitor, which is cool. This is jobs that have already happened. I'll go ahead and clean it up here a little bit for you. But you can see this was the actual start job. I think as we scroll down, this should be the start job. We get some information, different things like that. And you can see I'll highlight it here in a second. That attempted to start action on that particular machine for that job, and this will be the start action job. The neat thing and the main thing I want to show here is you're getting the email that shows you what happened. So with that, this is Azure Automation.